Tom Aspinall's the guy. He's the guy.
Dana White says I'm his man. We love that. We love that on the channel.
And what about Francis Ngannou? You having him? You want some?
The day that I start ducking out of fights and turning opponents down and stuff like that is the day that I'm going to retire. So, as I've always said, and you can ask any promoter I've ever worked with, any guys at the UFC, I'll fight anyone, I'll fight anytime, and I'll fight anywhere. Never turned down a fight in my life, never will. The day that I start thinking about turning down fights is the day that I'll retire. So to answer the question, whoever they want me to fight is who I'm going to fight.
Tom Aspinall has finally broken the silence, sending a bold warning to Jon Jones. After months of uncertainty and accusations of ducking, the interim heavyweight champion is stepping up. His message has struck a chord, sparking major buzz across the MMA world. It's the call-out everyone's been waiting for.
I don't have Ngannou on her contract, and Aspinall's the guy.
Right. If you were put in the position, would you maybe try to get Ngannou back under contract or no?
Probably not.
Today, we're breaking down Tom Aspinall's powerful statement, Dana White's shocking admission, and why this could mark the beginning of the end for Jon Jones' heavyweight reign. Things are heating up, so stay tuned. Do you think Jon Jones is ducking Aspinall? Should the UFC strip him if he keeps avoiding?
To clarify, you said that Jon agreed to fight Tom, yes?
Jon agreed to fight Tom?
Is that what you just said there? Before, like on the last answer, you said...
Jon agreed to fight Tom, yes.
So he hasn't signed a contract or anything.
Right. Yeah.
That's
I mean, you guys have heard me for the last however long. I said, I guarantee you this fight's going to happen. This fight's going to happen. Fight's going to happen. You guys told me the crazy shit that was going on Instagram and all these other places. But yes, I've been saying Jon is going to fight Tom.
So there were some rumors out there that you guys had offered him his fuck you money and he turned it down.
Unless you hear it come from here or we put out a press release, don't believe any of this bullshit. But yes, Jon agreed to fight Tom. Fact.
Let's get straight to it. Tom Aspinall just dropped a bombshell shaking the entire UFC. After Dana White publicly backed Aspinall and dismissed Jon Jones' interest in fighting Francis Ngannou instead, Tom didn't hold back. He responded with a chilling message that should rattle Jones. Aspinall stated, "The day that I start ducking out of fights and turning opponents down is the day that I'm going to retire. I'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. Never turned down a fight in my life. Never will." A clear call-out that's igniting serious heat in the heavyweight division.
Turning opponents down and stuff like that is the day that I'm going to retire. So, as I've always said, and you can ask any promoter I've ever worked with, any guys at the UFC, I'll fight anyone, I'll fight anytime, and I'll fight anywhere. Never turned down a fight in my life, never will. The day that I start thinking about turning down fights is the day that I'll retire. So to answer the question, whoever they want me to fight.
If that's not a direct shot at Jon Jones, I don't know what is. But here's the kicker. Aspinall didn't stop there. When asked about fighting Francis Ngannou, he doubled down, saying, "Whoever they want me to fight is who I'm going to fight." This is a man tired of waiting. A fighter ready to prove he belongs at the top of the heavyweight division. Most importantly, he's calling out the champion for what many believe is blatant avoidance. Behavior some are labeling as nothing short of cowardly.
Jon Jones agreed to do the fight. So Jon Jones was offered the deal and accepted the deal. You know, if he's talking that crazy shit, I didn't realize that. He said he was ready to vacate the belt.
He said he doesn't care if you strip it, but he would vacate it.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, I've been busy. I haven't been keeping up with the gossip. He comes back. He's either back today or came back yesterday or whenever he's in Thailand. So he's home. We'll be home tonight. And Tuesday, we'll figure this out. Listen, if the guy wants to retire and doesn't want to fight, nothing you do. It's none of my business. I'll do what I can to make the fight if we can. If he's talking that crazy shit, I didn't realize that. Jon's been Jon since he walked in the door here. And yeah, I was younger then. Yeah, realize shit doesn't go the way you would like it to go all the time.
To clarify, you said that Jon agreed to fight Tom, yes?
John agreed to fight Tom?
Is that what you just said there? Before, like on the last answer, you said,
John agreed to fight Tom, yes.
but he hasn't signed a contract yet.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Well, I mean, you guys have heard me for the last however long. I said, I guarantee you this fight's going to happen. This fight's going to happen. Fight's going to happen. You guys told me the crazy shit that was going on Instagram and all these other places. But yes, I've been saying John is going to fight Tom.
There's some rumors out there that you guys had offered him his fuck you money and he turned it down.
Unless you hear it come from here or we put out a press release, don't believe any of this bullshit. It's like the Turkey stuff, you know what I mean? And everybody's saying, I know Turkey said some stuff, but unless we come out and say something, it's all bullshit. I just don't get sucked into that stuff anymore. I don't even care. I don't even listen to it. And most of the time, the shit that I hear that happens, I hear from you guys when I come to things like this. Otherwise, I don't care and I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. But yes, John agreed to fight Tom. Fact. What's that?
Like, in your gut, do you think that fight will ultimately end up happening?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it since the beginning, and Jon Jones agreed to do the fight. So Jon Jones was offered the deal and accepted the deal.
He keeps saying he doesn't want Aspinall.
Aspinall will need that fight. I don't need it. When you look at it, pretty much true. There's nothing that he's going to make winning that fight if it's not money. But for Aspinall, that will be everything.
Would you rather see him face Aspinall or would you rather see him face Pereira?
Aspinall will be a more challenging fight because Aspinall responds to a ground game better than Pereira. Aspinall will respond better in wrestling than Pereira. He can do whatever he...
Tom Aspinall fights Pavlich and takes that fight on 2 weeks' notice and becomes the interim champion and fucks his back up and can't train at all. But Aspinall... like, that guy's, he's something special. He really is something special. He's a very unusual example. Because he's a heavyweight, and he's a big guy, a really big guy, but he moves so fast. And his coach, Colin, I forget, it's from Cabal, this gym that he trains at in the UK. Colin Huron, he trained Darren Till. Colin, from the early days of the career, was like emphasizing his speed. And so his speed has always been like extraordinary compared to other heavyweights. Like, he just fucking moves in. It's all like fast, explosive movements. So he's got natural speed, but then he's also got a lot of training to execute quickly. So when he moves in, he closes the gap. You can see, you're like, fuck, he's fast for a big guy.
Ngannou is, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous punchers ever. He is an absolute physical specimen. And I thought he was just dangerous with the little gloves on. You know, he comes in from all angles, he throws all over the place, he's a little bit wild. And then obviously when he put the boxing gloves on, the 10 ounces, obviously that transferred over, and the guy is just an absolute truck. And I think that one of the things that is most dangerous, someone from my perspective, who is obviously an MMA fighter, I've sparred a lot of rounds with Tyson Fury, a lot of rounds with other professional high-level boxers. And the success that I have, personally, is when I do unorthodox things. You know, boxers, they've been sparring, they've been fighting since they're young. You know, let's say they're 30 years old, they've been sparring and fighting since they were 10. Most boxers have very similar styles. They're working behind a jab, a double jab, a 1-2, a 1-2 left hook, traditional stuff. Whereas MMA fighters, they're throwing punches on angles that they're not used to. They're doing unorthodox.
Aspinall's a freak. Like, I've seen a lot of heavyweight, even Francis, who's like the greatest, scariest power striker I've ever seen in the heavyweight division. No one's scarier than Francis. Francis does not move like Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is significantly faster than every other heavyweight. That's a real problem. That's a real problem. But John has been used to fighting guys like Alexander Gustafsson, guys who are really fast at light heavyweight. So the speed is not going to be as much of an adjustment. Like, John's used to really fast people. He fought Lyoto Machida when Machida was in his prime. Machida was a lightning bolt, man. And he caught John a bunch of times. But then there's the thing of getting caught by Lyoto Machida is not like getting caught by 255-pound Tom Aspinall.
Francis Ngannou's head coach, Eric Nixick, revealed that Ngannou is open to a UFC return, which, if you were paying attention to the UFC's initial split with Francis Ngannou, is absolutely insane news to hear from Francis Ngannou. But that's not the only thing that we have to discuss in today's video, because Jon Jones, like clockwork, all of a sudden is really interested in fighting again, and now is really interested in a Francis Ngannou fight. Now we're talking. That's a real super fight, a clash of champions, not just hype. So Jon Jones is just the most pathetic guy, and I'm going to get into why in a second, but I wanted to discuss the Francis Ngannou stuff first.
I think enough time has passed. I would love to see somehow, some way that they can mend these fences and get back in competing in the UFC.
The Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou boxing match?
Is that the one where he bet the ear off?
No, this is that's Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. That's from the 90s.
Yeah.
No, this fight that took place this last weekend. Francis Ngannou, who is the UFC heavyweight champion, he vacated the belt so he could take this fight with Tyson Fury. This was his dream fight. Tyson Fury, who's the lineal heavyweight champion. Francis Ngannou had never had a boxing match ever in his life. Had 0 boxing matches, but he was the UFC heavyweight champion.
Okay.
Knocked down Tyson Fury in the 3rd round. Beat him up in the 8th round.
Business than it is about ego. At least it is from Francis's side. You know, he wants the opportunity to be paid for, like, it's like being an independent contractor, you know, like your services to be paid the highest amount for whoever needs your services for. He doesn't want to be stuck in a position where he's not allowed to go box or he's not allowed to go do these things. But he went out and did those things and he competed and he made a lot of good, you know, a lot of money and proved that he could do it. So now where does his motivations?
The number that Jon wanted, and I believe that to be $12 million. Got my own sources. I don't believe that Jon's turned it down. Even though Ariel's confirmed it, even though that's believed in our industry, I do not believe that Jon Jones got a phone call matching Jon Jones's demands and he said no. And I do not believe that Jon Jones would play that game of chicken. Moreover, I don't believe that if he did, we wouldn't have heard about it. If they believe it, if it's to the point that they're ready to move on, it's to the point when they're done trying is when they go book a different fight for Tom.
With Jon Jones, he got on Twitter and he was tweeting up a storm. Here's what he had to say regarding everyone saying that he's ducking Tom Aspinall and stuff like that. He said, I spoke to the UFC a long time ago about what my future plans are. I haven't really worked out since my last fight in New York City. Honestly, I believe it's in the UFC's best interest to keep presenting me as the company's champion, not Tom. And then he goes on to say, I've just been playing the role of the company man by doing nothing at all and holding all the position. And truthfully, it's been incredibly lucrative. I've made more money off of Tom being the interim champ than Tom has himself. It sucks to see the rest of the division get slowed down like this, but that has nothing to do with me. I don't pull the strings. Well, it does have everything to do with you, Jon. You are the champion and you're the guy that should fight, that should defend or vacate. Now, don't worry, we're not going to go through all ground there and give you all the same points. But he continued to...
Most money I've ever been paid by a fighter. It was unbelievable. You know, it was more than I expected. I wasn't expecting, you know, and obviously Francis is always taking great care of me, but it floored me. Like when I saw my Wells Fargo account that morning, and it literally brought me to tears because he changed my life, you know, and not only from a professional standpoint, but a monetary standpoint. It allowed me a lot of financial freedom to be able to enjoy my coaching, enjoy being a dad and a husband. And, you know, I get to take my kids to Park City this weekend, my daughter's 16th birthday, you know, helped us.
Heavyweight champion of the world, Tom Aspinall.
And I mean, as far as Curtis Blades go, there was also a lot of people thinking it could have gone over a round and a half. And I mean, you don't like second rounds. Like, what do you have against second rounds, Tom Aspinall?
Absolutely nothing. His coach said in the build-up, we're going to drag him into deep water. We're going to drag him to the later rounds. So I was preparing myself for the later rounds. You know what I mean? That was me. I was going slow in there, man. That wasn't me trying to knock him out at all. I never looked for the finish. I was like they're saying they're going to drag me into deep water. I'm going to look in the camera and say, somebody drag me into deep water. I'm telling you, I want to feel what it's like. I want to see if I can swim or not. Jon Jones, if you can drag me there, take me there. Because right now, all these guys are saying...
In my opinion, if you look at his body of work over the last 15 years, he's like as close as you can get to perfection as possible. He's like 37, 38 years old, but not only that, he's got 1 million miles on the clock. So he's got a lot of damage on the body. He's took a lot of shots to the head. And that's not me saying anything negative about it. That's the reality of it. And I'm sure Jon Jones is aware of that. And he's fighting one of the most concussive punchers in UFC history. And I just think I can exploit it. Like, I think to get out the way of me for 25 minutes at this point in his career without getting hit once, and that's all I need is just one. I think that's going to be...
Fight, you know what I'm saying? Title fight.
He's talking about with Islam. He's saying that he's a little new in the sport still.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do before.
But he has a big future. You got a big future.
Big future, but I think that same Habib career, not long.
Yeah, not very long.
Yeah, just started the pressure just didn't make the fight start. So it's done a lot. You know, you kept on keeping on, and are still on. So like, well, how's this even argument?
The longer you're on top, the more time your opponents get to study your footage. People fixate on fighting you instead of the next opponent.
And it's starting.
Yeah, it gets harder and harder the longer you stick around. We get older.
And then they're yelling at you, and you're like, you know, you started since me. So it's like, why are you even talking?
I feel like the comment that I made a lot of people upset, a lot of Islam fans upset. But really what I was trying to do is I was trying to translate for Nate to the Russians. Nate speaks in a very laid-back way. He speaks with a lot of slang, and if you're not American, it may be hard to understand what he was saying. So I was really just trying to translate for
Islam Makhachev is a better version of Bilal. I think his striking on the feet is the striking on the feet. I think it's easier than Bilal because he's more just he'll stay in one stance. He's more traditional style. But yeah, he's the pound for pound #1. So it's a tough fight. But I guess we'll just watch all his fights again, make a solid game plan, and then just start working at it. From pretty much now, I'm going to start working on ways to beat him, different ways to get back to my feet, stuff in the takedown. But I'm pretty confident I can get this one done.
Will you pick Volk's brain?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely plan. After the last 2 fights, I've spent a bit of time in Wollongong. So yeah, I think probably the first stop. We go to Wollongong, talk to Volk, see what he reckons.
Islam went up not out of courage. Islam did not go up out of adding hardware to put on his mantle. He went up with one condition, which is I don't have to fight Belal Muhammad. Now, he can sit around and say, I could beat Belal, and I wouldn't go up and beat Belal because I can beat Belal. The bottom line is you entered a division openly that you said you wouldn't face one of the top guys. That's not a sign of courage. That's a sign of cowardice. I don't love the idea. You have an undefeated. Make sure you understand what happened. I know this is your friend, DC. I think of Islam as my friend, too. But let's think of what happened. You have an undefeated, #1 ranked world champion who's chasing you down. He is willing to leave his division behind. He's willing to walk away from his belt to chase you down. You are so interested in getting away from this guy that you not only leave your belt, you leave your division, and the whole thing is only contingent that you don't have to fight Islam. Not for nothing. This is not the way champions conduct themselves.
That's where I disagree with my boy Chill. I love Chill, and we have a lot of fun on our show. But you can't call someone or say they have that type of behavior when they're doing that. And they've defended the belt multiple times. They've fought people on short notice. They've fought people coming up in weight class. They've done just about everything they can to show that they're willing to lay it on the line. We always talk about step on the line, step on the line, step on the line. Steps on the line every single time. This is the first time that Islam has honestly put his wishes above what everybody else wants. Because when everybody else wanted him to fight Volk, he did it. When everybody was looking for him to fight Arman, and Arman couldn't, well, fight this guy who's number 5, Moicano. Dangerous, no training camp. He did it on a day's notice. He's always done it. So to say that it wasn't a great move in that regard, I don't agree with that.
Where in our history of knowing Islam Makhachev is there anywhere that says this guy's going to duck anybody? That's not who he is.
Those two words just don't go together, Islam and ducking. It doesn't add up in any sense of the word. Like you said, there's certainly situations of guys quote unquote ducking, but you kind of have to define what ducking is too, right? Like, are they going out of their way specifically to not fight a guy? Islam's going for a bigger opportunity. Like I don't think that's ducking in any definition of the word that you can muster up.